Hello everyone and welcome to my RPG storytelling. In this storytelling I will be talking about the Magic Longsword. Some of you might have found this on the market and wondered, what is this sword and how do I get it? Well, the short answer is, you're probably not going to get it. Let me start by telling you about the history of the Magic Longsword. So, the Magic Longsword was first found when the Night Watch Tower was introduced into the game. As you see, I am currently standing at the Night Watch Tower, but back then they were looking for ways to enter this tower because it just got added to the game and some people were curious. I could find that there was a group of, I think it was 2 or 3 people, and they were looking for ways to enter this new tower. There were several new holes that you could find by using a pick, and they started using the pick on pretty much every tile you can find in Tibia, and eventually they found one that brought them to a cave. And in this cave they found one of the game developers, which was game developer Guido. Now Guido told them to go away basically, and they listened, except one of them, which was Tagor, decided that he would go back there to try and find this hole again, but the hole was no longer there. So now he tried to use his pickaxe on this hole. So eventually they would find this hole right here, and they went down just to find Guido, which is one of the developers of the game, and he basically told them to go away. So they did, but they would come back later when hoping that he was not there anymore, and well, he wasn't, and first they would have to find a way to actually enter this place, because there was no longer the hole that you just saw. They would have to find a way to get in, and they did. They used a pickaxe, and that actually worked. So they were now in this place, and they were continuing downwards, and found a body just like this one under a fire field, which contained a sword. Now, it looked just like a normal sword, but it had an attack value of 60. So they instantly realized that this was a huge find. So they took it and they left. Now, after less than a week, Guido found out about this, and he got furious at the map editor that he was trying to secretly hide away a sword for himself. And the finder Tagor received the Magic Longsword as a compensation. So this was the first Magic Longsword in the game. Now the second one was rewarded to Ariswar because he found it after inside of a Cyclops, when he killed a Cyclops. He was also trying to hide this sword in his depot, but it got deleted alongside with what they say some more items with large value. He also received a Magic Longsword. Another one was awarded to Hagbard, who won the Tibia convention in Germany. Now Hagbard decided to sell it, and he sold it to a guy called Alex for 5.5 million. The sword was then purchased for 5.5 million by Siop Carry from Hokuten, and then the guy from Satori, Rekka, wanted to buy it for 7 million. The problem was that at that time there was a war going on between Hokuten. Actually, this was the first war in Tibia. There was a war going on between Hokuten and Satori, and there was no safe trading yet back then. So what would happen was, normally you would find one person that both of the players trust, and you would put the items on his depot, and he would then give the item to the person that it belongs to. So in this case they picked Alex, I guess because he was a renowned trader, and he also bought the Magic Longsword before, so he was one of the previous owners. But what people didn't know was that Alex was actually part of Hokuten, so he worked together with Siop Carry, and they stole the 7 million from the Satori player Rekka. This was probably the largest theft in Tibia at the time, and maybe still now, because 7 million back then was actually a large portion of the game, of the Antikas total amount of gold. You can find the whole story of the Magic Longsword in a book on the Isle of Kings, although it's not as thorough as what you can find on Tibia fandom. So if I caught your interest with this guide about the Magic Longsword, you should definitely read about it on Tibia fandom. And there are some more stories going around, but I feel like the one from Tibia fandom is probably the most believable. It's also the way I remember it. I used to play back then and I still remember to this day how Alex stole the 7 million from Rekka. It was a very memorable moment, and back then a lot of these kind of thefts happened because there was no way to save trade, but this was definitely the biggest theft in Tibia history that I can remember. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my video, and see you next time.